Good morning, it's Daniel.
And Jenny.
And thank you for watching In a Magical Mood. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and click that notification bell at the bottom and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Today we are going to try and go on every attraction here at Disneyland.
We're doing our own unique version of the Every Ride Challenge, and our goal is to help you plan your next trip to Disneyland.
We just got in just before 7:30. We scanned our admission tickets and have entered the park. We're making our way down Main Street to Rope Drop. So once we get there, we'll explain what's going on, what we're doing, and break things down for you a little bit more. If you have early morning access, you get to line up next to the Plaza Inn restaurant, and they let you in at 7:30, which is in about 30 seconds. Otherwise, you get to hang out up in this area. You got to pick your spot wisely for wherever you want to end up first at Rope Drop.
If you've never come for Rope Drop before, that means that before the park officially opens at 8 a.m., you can wait at a physical rope that the cast members will hold, and once they drop that rope, it is time to head to your first attraction of the day.
So we are all set and ready to go to our first attraction once the park opens in about half an hour. So we've got lots of time to hang out and kind of strategize, think about our plan. As we said, our goal is to go on every attraction here at Disneyland. That's every ride. So we're going to use Genie Plus. We're going to use individual lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance. We're going to maximize everything that we possibly can to make everything as efficient as we can. We are choosing to kind of make our own little sub-rules for this. So we're going to go on every ride, and we're going to go on anything that is an attraction type walkthrough. We are not going to account attraction type shows. So we will include the Adventureland Treehouse and the Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough. We're not going to include shows like the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, going to the Main Street Cinema, or the Tiki Room. We also are not going to include anything that you have to spend extra money to go on, so things like the fortune teller machines or the Frontierland Shooting Expo. They're listed as attractions in the app, but we're not counting them for this challenge today. Of
course, we'll also be skipping the attractions that are closed for refurbishment, so that includes Splash Mountain, the future Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Haunted Mansion, Astro Orbiter, and the Columbia ship.
We're going to be skipping single rider lines. There are actually only 3 attractions inside of Disneyland Park that have single rider lines. If you want to see what those are at any time for either park, you can go ahead and type into the search bar on the app single rider, and that will pull those up. For Disneyland, that's Space Mountain, Matterhorn, and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. But we're going to use lightning lanes to go on those rides. Let me show you real quick how to purchase Genie Plus. So once you go into the Disneyland app, press the home button, and you can see your upcoming plans for My Day. You're going to go ahead and click on My Day. It's going to load this here. You see this thing here that says More Magic for $30 per guest. The price does change based on the day that you are visiting. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. Click on all the prompts that come up. We will confirm our party. Once we get there, it will show you your price. If you have a magic key, you do get a little bit of a discount on that price. We'll continue to check out. And I have a card on file already, so we're just going to use that to purchase it. And there you go. We now have Genie Plus. There's our confirmation. We can scroll down and click continue. And now we are able to book our first lightning lane return. So everything is pretty much for opening time. So I think we're going to start with the Matterhorn, which I went past. So we're going to book that. That will be our first lightning lane attraction. There we go, 8:05 to 9:05. Our strategy for today is we're going to start in Fantasyland. We're going to try and go on Peter Pan, assuming it's not too busy from the Disneyland hotel guests getting in that line. And then we're going to try and go on some of the Fantasyland stuff that's a little slower. So things like Dumbo, Alice in Wonderland, and the Storybook Land boats. Then we're probably going to hit up Matterhorn. When we do that, we can book our next lightning lane. And then we'll try and finish up most of the rest of the Fantasyland stuff and then kind of see where we're at from there. Another thing to be aware of when coming up with a plan or strategy for a challenge like this is that some rides don't open with park opening, some don't stay open until park closing. So the things around the Rivers of America tend to only be open during daylight hours. Today, I believe most of it opens at 9, so it's the Mark Twain boat, the Tom Sawyer Island rafts, and the canoes. I think the canoes open at 10, everything else at 9. You also have things like the Main Street vehicles that only run till about 2 in the afternoon. So just be aware of things like that. Also, Toontown closes from 8 to 10 on nights that there are fireworks. So make sure you factor that into your plans.
One big change from our previous attempt of this challenge is that Disney hotels do get early access into Disneyland and Disney California Adventure on specific days. So that may be something to be aware of if you are rope dropping one of those parks. So on some days, those hotel guests will be able to go to popular attractions like Peter Pan before the rest of us can go during rope drop. So those attractions may already have a line by the time you get through.
The other thing I want to share with you is that in order to get here on time, you need to make sure that you get here plenty early. So we drove here. We actually got to the parking structure about 10 minutes before it opened. The parking structure opens an hour before the parks. So that means today the park opened at 8, the structure opened at 7. We got there about 6:50, and we're among the first 10 cars or so to get in from our lane. And it was really easy to park, get on the tram, and get here with plenty of time to be among the front of the crowd for rope drop. They just announced that Rise of the Resistance will not be opening with the park. That's actually a pretty common thing. So we really don't suggest rope dropping that or planning on rope dropping that. We're going to buy an individual lightning lane for it. We're going to aim to try and get that for a return time between like 10:30 to noon, somewhere in that time frame. We think that's going to work well with our plans and where we're going to be during that time. You can purchase that individual lightning lane regardless of whether or not you purchase Genie Plus. It's completely separate and unrelated to Genie Plus. The only thing that it has in common is the name Lightning Lane, but it's a separate lightning lane that you purchase. It's a one-time pay-per-use thing, and you can make it in addition to or without Genie Plus. Here we go. We're going quick. We're trying to make it to Peter Pan as fast as we can before everyone else who's going. We want to knock that out first so that we can move on to other low capacity rides that have short lines right at rope drop. Good morning. So here we go. It's not looking super long. This is, we think, a good choice. It's showing a 20-minute wait, and we got in line right at 8 because they let us in a couple minutes early. And the line is already backed up basically through the castle entrance. So we are walking through all of the switchbacks, but we're actually moving this whole time. In a second, the line's going to be much longer than this. We actually debated amongst ourselves whether this was the right choice, and I still think that it probably is, but it might be better a strategy to actually save this for later.
So this is a pretty big debate whether rope dropping Peter Pan is really worth it. It is not one of the most popular attractions, but it's one of the slowest attractions. It's very inefficient, only a few people can ride at once, and so this line does get long and it stays long. We think that it's worth it to get in it early when the wait is only 15 to 20 minutes, because the rest of the day it's going to be at least 45 minutes to an hour long wait.
We're about to board our chariot at 8:19, so that 20-minute wait was pretty accurate.
Come on, everybody, here we go! Off to Neverland! Pixie dust!
One down, 34 to go. Next up, we're going to do Dumbo. We are getting in line at 8:22, and it says it has a 10-minute wait. We have boarded at 8:29, so that's only about 7 minutes. So we lucked out with the timing on this, and we're about to take off and take flight. And away we go. Now that we've gotten off Dumbo, we are getting in line for Alice in Wonderland at 8:33, and it's showing a 10-minute wait. Here we go, getting on at 8:46, so a little longer than 10 minutes, but still a pretty good wait time overall.
Adventures in Wonderland began when all of the 5 rabbits down the rabbit hole. Oh, Mr. Rabbit! Wait! Please! It went this way. No, that way.
It's 8:51. We're getting in line for the Storybook Land boats now. You can see the lighthouse right behind us. And it says it's got a 15-minute wait on the app. I don't think it's quite that long. We are going to run up against our Matterhorn return time, and we might be a few minutes late to it. They'll typically let you use your lightning lane about 10 minutes after its expiration. But another thing you can do if your plans change is you can go into the app here, and if you click on, not redeem, but just click on the big area around the ride, and then click Modify Plan. You can see that you can change that time, and you can pull down to refresh. And if you just keep rapid fire doing that, you might be able to get your time changed a little bit. We don't want it to be quite as late as 9:35, but the times do tend to change fairly frequently. And you can change it to another attraction if you want to too. So it bumped up to 9:35, and we'll see if it bumps back down a little bit lower. But I'm going to keep trying that while we're waiting in line. Maybe push our time back 5-10 minutes just to play it safe. With a little bit of persistence and refreshing, I was able to get our Matterhorn return time changed to 9:10. So now we don't have to stress about that time running out. But again, they usually will let you check in 5 minutes early for your lightning lane and go in as late as 10 minutes after that time expires. As a reminder, if you're not aware of how the lightning lanes work with Genie Plus, you are only allowed to do each attraction one time. And once you've used that attraction, you cannot book it again. So it's important to be strategic with how you book everything and when you go on what. We've just boarded at 9:05, so 15 minutes was pretty accurate.
And away we go. Hello and welcome, friends. My name is Anthony. I'll be your captain and storyteller today as we journey in a storybook land. How about a magical twist in our story, friends, as the city of Agrabah will be directly up ahead. This is, of course, where a street rat named Aladdin bumped into Princess Jasmine in the marketplace and where he stole her heart.
It's 9:18. We are getting in line for the Matterhorn, which is showing a 25-minute standby wait, but we're going to skip that with our lightning lane. Now that we've scanned into the Matterhorn, we can book our next lightning lane. So I think we're going to go with Space Mountain. Let's see if we can make that happen. So we're going to go to the map. We're going to go find Space Mountain. There's other ways to do this too, but this is what I find to be the easiest. It's got a really long wait right now, but if we click on that, click on lightning lane, wait for it to populate, and it's showing a 10:40 return time. We're going to book that and then see if we can roll that to be a little bit earlier. But we don't want to do that quite yet anyway, so that's fine. So confirm it pushed back even a few more minutes. That's fine. There we go. We've got a 10:25 return time for that. As I mentioned, we can go back in here, click on it, and click on Modify Plan. And we can change the time by keep refreshing, and hopefully we can find something a little earlier because that's a little later than we want to go on it. Hoping for something closer to 10. So I'll keep doing that, let you know if we get an earlier time. We also need to keep an eye on the return time for Rise of the Resistance because again, we want to do that between like 11 and noon, somewhere in that time frame. So I will check that in a minute as well. We just boarded 9:25, so that was like a 7-minute wait, super short with the lightning lane.
Now that we finished our free chiropractic session on the Matterhorn, we're going to head over to Toontown.
Part of the strategy is that the Chippendale Gadget Coaster can get very long and is also one of the least efficient rides in the park. So we want to do that next before the line gets long. You can see here, we just checked the wait times and everything in Toontown is still short. Everything's listing a 5 or 10 minute wait. So you can see Gadget Coaster's 5, Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway is 10, and Roger Rabbit is also 5. So we're going to do the Gadget Coaster, and then if Runaway Railway is short, we may just do that without using a lightning lane because it's a very efficient ride, the opposite of the Gadget Coaster. So let's go on the Gadget Coaster. Here we go, get in line at 9:32 with a 5-minute posted wait time.
It's 9:40 and we just made it on to Chippendale's Gadget Coaster.
They updated their rules for that ride. We weren't allowed to film it because we weren't allowed to have anything in our hands, but we are all done with the Gadget Coaster. We're going to make our way to Runaway Railway. We're not going to use a lightning lane for it. We're breaking our rule, but we think this is the most efficient use of our time so that we don't have to come back later. We're getting in line at 9:43 and it lists a 15-minute wait, which we hope is a little shorter than that. Just as a small update, we have been keeping an eye on the return time for the Rise of the Resistance individual lightning lane, and it's not really going up by that much. I don't think that many guests really view it as a necessity to buy that individual lightning lane, so we're going to keep an eye on it, but we think we're going to get a pretty instant-ish or within half an hour of when we actually want to go on it, so we're going to hold off on purchasing that. The individual lightning lanes, you cannot change the time once you book it, but your Genie Plus lightning lanes, you can. So it's important if you're going to do Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland or Radiator Springs Racers at California Adventure that you know that you have to be committed to the time that you select for that booking. as we're waiting here in line for Runaway Railway, we just made an executive decision that we hope pays off for us. We decided to book Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin because that got up to a 25-minute wait, and it was an instant Lightning Lane return time. So as soon as we're done with this, we can do that, and then we'll be completely done with Toontown, don't have to make our way back here again. We could kind of lump Small World into that, except it hasn't opened yet for the day, so that might be a good strategy if it were open. We got on at 10:04, so about a 20-minute wait, but we still think this was the right move. Here we go.
Testing, this thing on? Can you all hear me way back in the back?
Now that we're done with Runaway Railway, we're going to get in line for Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. It's 10:14. And the standby wait time is 40 minutes, but we're going to use our Lightning Lane. Made it on 10:15, so less than a minute. Here we go.
Holy smokes, Roger! We did
It's spinning a lot today, and we're not touching it.
Now that we've gone on Roger Rabbit, we are officially done with Toontown, and we don't have to go all the way back there for any other attractions today.
We will still have to come back to Small World, which we probably would have done now if it was open, but it's still not. We were able to rebook Space Mountain for $12.25, and then I'm going to kind of keep checking as we're waiting in lines and doing stuff, see if we can roll that to be a little bit earlier. We're going to make our way now to Fantasyland and try and go on the remaining dark rides here, so Pinocchio, Snow White, and Mr. Toad's. Now that it's about 10:25, it is starting to get more busy, but the wait times for the things we just mentioned are still relatively short. It's now 10:26. We're getting in line for Mr. Toad. It says it has a 10-minute wait, and I think it might be a little longer than that, but it's only going to get longer as the day grows longer, so that's our next move. We just boarded at 10:43.
Permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos y piernas.
That's all.
We just got off Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and I think that the tail end of the rope drop time period is done. The wait times are quite long now for Pinocchio and Snow White, both at 25. So we're going to make our way to the Nemo submarine voyage, and that's going to take us a while, and then that'll probably lead us into lunch and our Space Mountain return time, unless we are able to roll that back a little earlier. Change in plan since we're here. We're going to go on the Main Street vehicles. We're going to ride the yellow car. Got on 10:49, and here we go. We just got off of the yellow car, and we are now walking back up Main Street towards Tomorrowland. We were going to do the Finding Nemo subs, but I was able to change our Lightning Lane return time to be 11:05, and it's about 10:55 right now. So we'll be able to go on that basically right when we get there. So we'll do that. That way we can book our next Lightning Lane, and we'll see where we're at. It is 11. Space Mountain is showing a 70-minute return time, and our Lightning Lane is for 11:05. But as I mentioned earlier, you can scan in up to 5 minutes early, so we can scan in now even though it's not for another few minutes, and then we'll book something else. We'll see what looks good to us, and we'll let you know what it is. I was able to book Indiana Jones for a 1:10 return time. It was actually at like 4:15 a few minutes ago, so that's a big improvement. We'll see if we can roll that back a little earlier, and after this, maybe we'll get a bite to eat so that we're fueled and ready to keep going on our adventure. We boarded 11:07 and we're already taking off. We just got off Space Mountain, and as we were exiting the ride, I double-checked to see if I could get our Indiana Jones time to be sooner, and I got it for 11:25. It's about 11:15 right now, and as we mentioned, you can scan in 5 minutes early. So we're going to walk there. By the time we get there, we should be able to scan into Indy, and then we're going to get lunch and figure out what we want to do after that. We'll book another Lightning Lane return time after we scan into Indiana Jones. 11:20, we're making our way to the Indiana Jones Lightning Lane return, and it shows a 50-minute wait time. So here we go, scanning in. While we're walking through the queue for Indy, I was able to get Big Thunder for 11:35, so that's what we will do after lunch. So we'll squeeze that in after this and after lunch. Here we go, boarding at 11:35 on Indiana Jones.
Hello? Oh, my friend. The brakes may be needing a little adjustment, but easy on the curve. future. I will lift the curtain of time. It is your destiny.
We stopped for lunch at Tropical Hideaway where we picked up some bows. The bows come in chicken, pork, and vegetarian.
We're wrapping up lunch, and before we go on to our next attraction, we want to book our Rise of the Resistance lightning lane, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. So follow along with me as I do that here on the app. We're going to go over to Rise, tap on it, and from there we're going to tap on it again. We're going to click on lightning lane. That's going to pull up this menu here, and you can see it's a 12:40 return time, so we're going to click on that to move forward, and we're going to select all, confirm, and then keep going through, continue. It's going to load my credit card information that's already there, so I'm going to click purchase. You do not get a discount with Magic Keys if you on your individual lightning lane purchase. There we go, I just clicked purchase. It's going to do its thing, and in about half an hour, hopefully, if it goes through, there we go, 12:40 to 1:40, we can go on Rise of the Resistance. So what we're going to do next is go on Big Thunder Mountain before our lightning lane for that expires. After we scan into Big Thunder, we will book Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and then depending on when that return time is compared to our Rise of the Resistance return time, we'll do both of those back to back and then see what makes sense afterwards. As we walk towards Big Thunder, I just want to point out that we did not maximize our day right now. It's probably more efficient to grab something quick to eat and then eat it while you're walking around or waiting in a line, but we decided to sit and take a little break, so that's another way you can make the most out of your day, is to eat in lines instead of eating at a table. Here we go, get in line for Big Thunder with our lightning lane. It has a 50-minute wait. We're getting in at 12:16.
We just boarded Big Thunder at 12:23.
It's about 12:30 right now, and we're making our way towards Rise of the Resistance. And on the way, we're going to stop at Winnie the Pooh because it only has a 10-minute wait. Then we'll go on Rise. I was also able to get a lightning lane for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run for 12:55. So current plan is Winnie the Pooh, then Rise, then Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Here we go, getting in line at 12:35 for Winnie the Pooh. It lists a 10-minute wait. We have boarded at 12:46.
Blustery day in the hungry neighborhood. A little bear named Winnie the Pooh set off in search of honey. What a wonderful dream!
Wake up, Pooh! Wake up! Wake up, Pooh!
We just scanned into Rise of the Resistance with our individual lightning lane at 12:55. The standby wait time was 80 minutes, so this is a huge time saver and worth every penny today. We've entered the ready room at 12:57, so less than 2 minutes to get to the first part of the attraction, so that's really short and amazing. It's 1:10 and we've made it onto the escape vehicle. We gotta get out of here.
Okay, take this corridor to the turbo lift, then head down to the escape pod base. Those droids are programmed to return you to Batu. Hurry and don't get caught.
The escape pod's the floors! Wait, why are you going up? I said down! Up is bad! Up is real bad!
We just scanned in for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run at 1:24. It had a 35-minute standby time, but we used our lightning lane, so we shouldn't have to wait very long at all. We just got into the flight deck of the Millennium Falcon at 1:37.
Right, pilot, push the flashing button to take off. Right, pilot, make the jump to light speed.
We just got off of the Millennium Falcon, and we got a lightning lane return time for Pirates of the Caribbean for 2:10. So we're gonna kind of make our way that way, but we're gonna go back through Critter Country, go on the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes first. We just got in line for the canoes at 1:49. The app listed a 10-minute wait, but we should get on the next canoe to show up, so hopefully less than 10.
It's 2:02 and we just boarded our canoe.
Now that we're done with the canoes, it's 2:16. We're about to get in line for Pirates, which has a 30-minute standby wait, but has a lightning lane that we can use right now, so that's what we're gonna do.
It's 2:21 and we just boarded Pirates.
Speak up. Swim with Davy Jones.
Don't be cheating!
Yo ho, it's not for me.
It's 2:41 right now. We just got off Pirates, and we need to make sure we make it back to the Mark Twain and to Tom Sawyer Island before they both close at 5 o'clock today. But the parade starts at 3 in about 20 minutes, a little less than 20 minutes. So right now we're going back to Fantasyland where the lines have gotten a little shorter while everyone lines up for the parade. So we're going to try and finish up everything in the core part of Fantasyland. We did book Autopia for 3:35. We'll see if that time makes sense. If not, we can push it back, but there's only 4 lightning lane attractions we have left, and we're not worried about getting return times for them between now and when the park closes at midnight. It's 2:45. Here we go, getting in line for Snow White's Enchanted Wish. It says a 15-minute wait, but I think it's even shorter than that. $2.54, we made it on. It's 2:57. We just got in line for Pinocchio after getting off Snow White's Enchanted Wish, and the app lists a 10-minute wait time for this attraction. Here we go, getting on at 3:06. It's 3:12. We just got in line for the King Arthur Carousel after getting off of Pinocchio. We should get on the next one. And then I think the parade's going to be just about over, so we'll probably go back to either Tom Sawyer Island or the Mark Twain next.
It's 3:19 and we just boarded the King Arthur Carousel.
And away we go. Now that we're off the carousel, it is 3:25, and we're going to head back towards the Rivers of America. But we're going to stop and do the Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough first. This doesn't have a wait, it's just a walkthrough experience, but we can cross it off the list. You do have to go upstairs. There is an alternative access experience available as well. Just ask a friendly cast member for assistance. We're now going to go on the Mark Twain boat. It's 3:32. When there's only one boat sailing, it departs every 20 minutes on 0, 20, and 40 of every hour. So we should be departing in about 8 minutes and have a nice leisurely break from walking and standing all day. And we do think this is the right call because it does say there that the last departure today is 4:30. So they do kind of time it a little differently at the end of the day. It's now 3:40, so they are closing the gates to the dock, and we're about to embark on our round trip around the Rivers of America.
Mark Twain is not just the name of a riverboat or a great American author. It also means the water here is 2 fathoms deep. That means it's safe enough for us to proceed on our steam-powered journey along the rivers of America.
We just got off the Mark Twain. It's 3:56. We're going to go on the rafts to Tom Sawyer Island. We're just going to go to the island and come right back. Just a reminder that the last raft leaves at 5 o'clock, so this does not stay open super late. Make sure that if you need to get this done while you're visiting, that you do it during the times that it's open. We've just boarded at 4:01, so we're going to say that's when we got on the rafts and are on Tom Sawyer Island. And away we go.
Okay, we did it. We're here on Tom Sawyer Island, and now we're going to take the raft right back.
It's now just shy of 4:20, and we want to do a quick recap of where we're at and what we've got left to accomplish and what our plan is to tackle all of that.
So far, we have completed 24 attractions out of the 35 that we've put together for this challenge.
There are 4 Lightning Lane attractions left. Those are going to be Star Tours, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, Autopia, and It's a Small World. As an update in case this wasn't clear, It's a Small World did finally reopen. I think it opened a little after noon, or maybe closer to 1. But all those rides seem to have Lightning Lane return times that are all in the next hour or so, so we're not worried about getting return times for them. We keep pushing back our Autopia return time, and right now it's for 4:40 to 5:40. So right now I think what we're going to do is the app shows that Jungle Cruise has a 20-minute wait. So we're going to go to the Adventureland Treehouse on our way to Jungle Cruise. After Jungle Cruise, try and do some Lightning Lane attractions, and if we have to wait a few minutes between them, then we'll fill them in with the other things we haven't gone on. In addition to Jungle Cruise, the other slower things that we haven't been on are Casey Jr.'s Circus Train and the Finding Nemo submarine voyage. So we're probably just going to have to wait for those, even if they're a little bit longer. But we're on pace to finish this well before park closing at midnight. As a reminder, the monorail does close for the fireworks. I think it's on a similar schedule to Toontown, so I think it closes 7:30 or 8 is the last monorail you can take, somewhere around there, and then it reopens around 10 after the fireworks are over. Obviously, if you're visiting on a day with no fireworks, then the monorail stays operating throughout the whole park hours, barring any unexpected closures. All right, let's head to the Adventureland Treehouse and then Jungle Cruise. It's 4:22, and here we go up the Adventureland Treehouse. Just like the Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough, this is a do-it-at-your-own pace walkthrough, where you walk up to the top, get to see some fun little scenes, and then you get to walk back down the steps when you're done. It's now 4:27, and we're getting in line for Jungle Cruise with a 30-minute posted wait. The app said 20-minute wait, the sign in front said 30-minute wait, and it's been an 18-minute wait. It is 4:45, and we're about to depart on the Jungle Cruise.
We're now in the elephant bathing pool. Wow! Wow, would you look at that? They all have their trunks on today. So feel free to take all the pictures you'd like. We now have a variety of horsies here. We have some striped horsies, some horned horsies, some long-necked horsies, and... Look! A sleeping horsey! How cute! Oh, looks a little dead, tired. Shh! Let's let him rest in peace.
It is 5:03. We're going to use our Lightning Lane return for Autopia, which currently lists a 15-minute standby wait time. And the clock just switched over to 5:04. If you haven't used the Lightning Lane option on Autopia before, you actually get in the queue just the same as you would if it's standby. And then once you cross over the bridge that goes over the tracks, there's a sign that a cast member is standing by, and they will scan your admission ticket or magic band for your Lightning Lane at that point. We booked Buzz Lightyear after scanning in here at Autopia for a 5:25 return time. We're going to try and go on either the Finding Nemo subs or the monorail or both before we do that, and we may push that time back a little bit. But as we mentioned before, Buzz Lightyear and It's a Small World and Star Tours all have pretty near return times for Lightning Lane. We're departing the station at 5:15. I know what you're thinking. That's like 12 minutes. Would we save any time with the Lightning Lane? The answer is yes, we definitely did. The standby line was at least 10 minutes longer than what we waited, and we got to cut in front of a lot of that with our Lightning Lane. So definitely the way to go on this. And here we go. It's 5:27. We're making our way up to the monorail. It doesn't really list a wait time. The app says 5 minutes. But there didn't seem to be anybody up at the station, so we should get on the next monorail to pull up once we get up to the platform. We made it onto the monorail at 5:34. We're going to do a round trip.
A lot of people don't realize that in order to ride the monorail, you don't have to be staying at one of the Disneyland hotels. Anyone is welcome to ride the monorail either direction, but you do have to disembark at the Tomorrowland station, which is where we're getting on.
Hello everyone, welcome aboard the Disneyland Monorail. We are now beginning a 2.5-mile journey to downtown Disney Station and back.
We got off the monorail a few minutes ago. It's 5:54 right now, so the parade is in full swing for its second showing that started at 5:30. We decided that we're going to get dinner before everyone else decides to get dinner, so we went to Pizza Planet. We got some yummy food here. After eating, we're going to take the Disneyland Railroad all the way around from Tomorrowland to the Toontown Depot, go on It's a Small World, so that's going to cross off Disneyland Railroad and It's a Small World, and then we'll see what we want to do after that. So we are no longer going to do Buzz Lightyear in the near future. It's going to be pushed back a little bit. As we mentioned before, and we double checked again just now, It's a Small World, Buzz Lightyear, and Star Tours, which are the last 3 attractions with lightning lanes that we need to go on, have pretty much immediate return times or within 15-20 minutes. So we don't think it's going to be an issue to get those basically whenever we want to between now and park closing. So we're going to eat and then go head to the Disneyland Railroad. We made quick work of dinner. It's now 6:12 and we are getting in line for the Disneyland Railroad. It says that there are trains arriving every 5 minutes right now. So hopefully we won't have to wait very long.
It's 6:16 and we just made it on to the Disneyland Railroad.
Again, we're riding around to Toontown so we can go on It's a Small World.
To those who have just come aboard, welcome. The next leg of our journey will take us from the fantastic world of the future to the breathtaking beauty of nature's own design, the Grand Canyon.
It's 6:40. We're walking up to It's a Small World to use our lightning lane. The standby wait is 15 minutes.
It's 6:46 and we just boarded It's a Small World.
We took a kind of circuitous route to get here. We wanted to see what the line for the Finding Nemo submarines looked like, and it was still a little bit long, so we're hoping it dies down as the fireworks draw closer. It's now 7:24. We're going to do Buzz Lightyear, and then we're going to immediately book and go on Star Tours, and then see which of the last 3 attractions after that we want to go on next and wait for. Buzz Lightyear lists a 25-minute wait, but we're going to go into our lightning lane. Again, it is 7:24.
7:35, we just got on Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters.
It's 7:42. We just scanned into Star Tours. It said it had a 10-minute wait. There's like no standby wait at all right now. It's 7:50 and we've boarded the ride on our trip to somewhere in space.
Star Tours, 1401, you are cleared for departure.
1401? That's us. We can't take off. The captain isn't on board.
Auto takeoff sequence initiated.
Excuse me, you don't seem to understand. I am not the captain. I am C-3PO.
It's exactly 8 o'clock. We're going to get in line for Finding Nemo. It's listed a 20-minute wait time all day, and we've seen the line shorter and longer. So who knows how long it actually is, but here we go getting in line. One of our last 3 rides to go on. Believe it or not, it's 8:20 and we just boarded the sub, so 20 minutes was a perfect description.
Let's take it down. Dive. Take it down easy. Oh, going so fat.
It's 8:44. We just got off of the Finding Nemo submarine voyage. I think it's good that we actually ended up saving this for close to the end. From the time we got in line to the time we got off, 44 minutes. That's, I think, the longest we really did anything today. So good to save it for near the end so that we didn't have to spend prime time doing that. We're going to make our way back into Fantasyland. We have 2 things left, the teacups and Casey Jr. circus train. It's 8:48. We just got in line for the teacups. It says 20 minutes in the app, but it's probably about 10 minutes, give or take.
It's 9:02 and we just boarded the Mad Tea Party.
Here we go. Whee! It's 9:09. We're getting in line for the Casey Jr. circus train. The app says 10 minutes. Doesn't really matter how long it is because we're waiting for it because it's the last thing we have. Hooray! We just boarded at 9:29. And that's great because the fireworks start at 9:30, so we're going to get a great send-off on our last ride of the night. And we're departing now, and you can see the projections on It's a Small World past the smokestack here. And there should be fireworks any second. I found them. They just weren't where we thought they were going to come from. Wow, what a way to end the night. That was awesome. We couldn't have timed that better if we tried. We honestly thought we were going to be done before the fireworks started. We did it.
Woohoo!
We're all done. 35 attractions that we set out to do. We did them all. We're done right around 9:30. Got a nice fireworks send-off there. That was amazing.
I think the biggest strategy that helped us today was being flexible with our lightning lanes and constantly refreshing them in the app and looking to see if we could get some earlier times. That's our number one tip if you are coming to Disneyland and you're using Genie Plus. Be sure that you are refreshing and trying to modify those times, because we found that more times would open up frequently, and a lot of people will just kind of take the first time and leave a big gap in between their lightning lanes. But if you try, you can be a lot more efficient and get through a lot more rides.
That's definitely one of the biggest keys to this. Getting here at rope drop is a big key, and knowing when to skip stuff if it's too long and come back later, which that may only come with some experience, we recognize that, but I think just overall being smart about what you do and when you do it really is a big key. Another point that I'd like to make is that you may have been following along with us and thinking, why are they using a lightning lane for that when it's a very short wait? We're trying to show you that with Genie Plus you can get all this stuff done. But yeah, of course, when we went on Star Tours, it was essentially the same wait whether you had a lightning lane return time or were just a standby guest waiting for the attraction. So in that situation, of course, you should not have used a lightning lane, and us doing that was the wrong thing to do from a true logic standpoint. But again, we were going to show you how everything plays together.
The other thing to keep in mind is that in planning our day today, we only focused on rides and we didn't talk about any other real experiences. So if you are realistically planning your day, you're also going to want to include parades and the fireworks and maybe some characters or other performances. So be sure to check the entertainment schedule ahead of time. You can find that on the Disneyland app, or usually on their website is a better place to find it. It's a little more clear. And if there's some other experience that's not an attraction and you want to make sure that you have it on your list, set aside that time and make sure that you use it wisely.
Now I'll say I had a lot of fun doing this today, but I also don't know that this is something I really want to do often. This was a long and intense day. 35 attractions over, 14 hours? I mean, that's a lot for a Disney day. So I don't know that I recommend you do this, but if this is something that you're looking to do, or you just want to really maximize your Genie Plus usage, we finished up all our Genie Plus rides by, about 7:30, I think. So it's not difficult to do if you have a smart strategy. And if we had been focusing solely on Genie Plus rides, I think we would have been able to finish all of those much sooner. But we tried to mix in everything else with it, which is obviously, it takes longer.
Another thing that we did do was think about where the parades and fireworks crowds would be at certain times of the day. So we made sure to avoid getting stuck in those crowds and go on attractions that were in different areas and use that sort of low crowd time to our advantage.
We also, early in the day, made a decision that I think really helped us out, and that was to not use our lightning lane on Runaway Railway and just knock out all the Toontown attractions at once, and that minimized a lot of our backtracking. You'll notice if you look back on how we did things, we didn't do a ton of backtracking, and I feel like the backtracking that we did was going through Fantasyland, which is kind of central, so we weren't constantly jumping from New Orleans Square back to Tomorrowland, back to Toontown, back to Main Street, back to Critter Country, and so on. We were really, within reason, efficient and minimized our backtracking. I honestly don't really think there's anything we should have done differently. I feel this was a major success. I thought we'd be here a little bit later, so I'm kind of surprised we got everything done so quickly in the big picture of things. We did skip Mr. Lincoln and the Tiki Room and the Main Street Cinema, but it's not even 10 o'clock yet, so there's plenty of time to do those things if we wanted to. So clearly, I think that shows that we could have still made those as part of our day, and it would have been easy to get done as well.
If you have any questions about the decisions we made today or why we went on certain attractions when we did, please let us know in the comments below, or let us know anything that you would have done differently.
We hope you found this video helpful. We sure thought it was fun to make, and we think it's informative, so we hope this helps you out when you're planning a Disney day. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And we hope we put you in a magical mood.